So I made a decision. I don't know if it's the right one. I could be so wrong about this, and it could be a huge, absolute mistake. But first off, I gotta thank you guys. You guys dropped so many comments down on the video when I was talking about kind of being up in the air on fishing the Toyota Series this year. You know, Smith Lake, Gunnersville, Chickamauga. You guys gave some great feedback, and it was honest, direct, and you know, you didn't care if you hurt my feelings, which I kind of like. You know, you gave me some things to think about that I wasn't even like putting into the picture. I got so many messages on Facebook, Instagram, as well as down in the comments. So first off, I want to thank you guys for being so engaged and just like cool. You guys were super cool and super honest and direct, and that means a lot to me. But let's move on to the big stuff. So I did make a decision. I tried to be as even-minded about this and as diligent and smart. You know, a lot of times when we're fishing, we're very emotional in the sense that, like, I want to go fishing. I want to go all the time. But the reality is, like, in order to afford gas, I need to go to work, dude. In order to afford this, like, boat, I need to go to work, you know? So I tried to be as rational and grounded as I could because emotionally, dude, I want to fish everything. I don't care what it is. I want to fish every day. I want to fish tournaments. It doesn't matter. I just want to go fishing. So I really tried to take like the mic, like, I don't know, the little devil mic out of the picture, the one that wants a rod in his hand all the time, and really think about this rationally. So my decision was I'm not going to fish them. And I'll tell you a couple reasons why. And I don't know if it's the right decision, but I think my logic and my basis is pretty good. One of my goals was this: I'm not going to fish like a pro. I don't want to be a freaking hashtag pro, dude. Like, there's very little money in that. It's stress. You're running around all the time. I really want to focus on the videos. However, I do want to check that box as kind of a bucket list thing. I'd like to fish like the Toyota Series or the Opens or something, just to be able to say, like, hey, I did that. Maybe I failed miserably, but I did that. That was cool. You know, I can say that I did it. However, I don't think it's the right time. You know, one of the things that really stands out to me, and a lot of it's floof, like yappity, like internet stuff, but there's a lot of volatility going on with every tournament series. I don't care if it's MLF or Bass or the Elite Series or the Opens. There's a lot of things changing and a lot of moving parts right now. And I'm not super good at like stock investing, but the one thing I do know is when it comes to volatility in the market, you either get in before the volatility or you get in after and you buy things up. So I kind of use that same philosophy for looking at this. With all the volatility and all the changes that are going on, especially with MLF, we all know, we've heard millions of like videos on YouTube about it. I don't think it's the right time to get in the mix, just because like I've never been party to a lot of the politics and stuff. Not to say that I don't have my own opinions, which you guys are well aware of. I'm not afraid to kind of share my perspective when it comes to this stuff, even if it contradicts like the mainstream views. However, I don't want to be in a situation that has all these things kind of going back and forth, all these emotions, all these politics. It's just not a good time. The problem is the schedule. The schedule is so perfect. I assume, though, and it's one of those things, a lot of these tournament series, they don't choose lakes very well. Just my opinion. Sometimes they'll go to a lake because, you know, they're getting paid. The tourism district pays them X amount of money to come, and it's a crap lake to go to. It's just a reality. Or they go at a crappy time. So I do think that moving forward, some of these tournament organizations are going to be more responsive to going to good lakes because they want to put on a good show. They want the anglers to have a good time. They want viewers who are watching it, because they're going to be live streaming more of this stuff, to have a good time watching it. Fish catches, kind of interesting dynamics. And I think the schedule thing is not going to be a one shot and done. I think they picked some good lakes that really highlight the South really well, and I think they'll be back to those lakes. So for as much as the schedule is driving me towards that decision, I think I'll have another shot and another opportunity at the schedule. The other thing is reality too. A lot of you guys, as I mentioned in the video, like, you don't know that, like, I work. So, like, the video thing is something I do fun on the side, and then I work kind of as a marketing consultant, like, with a bunch of, I work for myself, but I do a bunch of contracting and stuff like that. So I'm working, like, all the time, Monday through Friday, like, 11 o'clock at night, 5 o'clock at night, 5 in the morning. Like, it doesn't matter when you kind of work for yourself, because you got to do what you got to do. So one of the things I was concerned about is how that taking that risk and doing the Toyota Series is going to affect my time capital that I have for work, which pays for this. You know, I make some money off the videos. However, it does not by any means like fund this boat, you know, or like pay for like the fishing stuff that I buy. So I pay for all that stuff through the work that I do on the side because this is my passion project. I love doing this. I love talking to you guys, meeting you guys at the boat ramp. I like catching fish and showing it on video and learning things and then sharing it with you. And I think that's a valid kind of, like a valid sort of pursuit. You know, it's something that means something to me, and I don't want to impact that. So the money thing, you know, cost would be less because I'd be staying at home for 2 of the tournaments, but really it's an investment, dude. And for as much as I think I could hang with these guys, at least to an extent, it is a little bit lotto, you know, depending on how the weather plays, depending on there's a lot of different things that go into the mix. I'm not saying like you're a lucky winner if you actually win one of these tournaments, because that's not the case, but there is a lot of sort of variability that occurs. And when it comes down to it, investing $1,800, $2,000 in an event and then having to go to it and then pay those costs to be there for those days, the gas costs, the pre-practice costs, I kind of thought about it and I'm like, dude, I could go like on an epic fishing trip for like 4 or 5 days instead of like the 3 weeks that it would incorporate to do these 3 events. And maybe if you make the championship 4 weeks, I could go on an epic like fishing trip for like $1,000, $1,500. I'm cheap, dude. I know how to make stuff happen. So for the amount that I'd be investing in these tournaments, which ballpark would be $7,000 to $9,000, $7,000 to $8,000, I can turn around, keep some of my money, invest it into fishing equipment, invest it into like shooting the videos, and invested into a trip to go shoot the content. Because one of the values for the tournaments was, I'm like, you know what, this would be a cool way to kind of mix up the content, show some different style videos, get a little like competition, a little different narrative kind of involved in the videos. But I don't need a tournament series. I don't need MLF. I don't need Bass to do that for me. I can do that on my own. That's kind of the way I've always done things. I've always taken my own path and created my own narrative, my own sort of direction when it comes to this, many times actually kind of setting the bar for the way things actually move. And so I don't think it's time to sort of just like get in line and do what everybody else is doing. At one point, maybe that is something I want to do because I do want to check that box, but I don't think now is the time. So the cost thing was really big. The other thing, and this might sound kind of petty, I really liked fishing those little tournaments. And in the end, when I really kind of analyze my goals surround getting content for you guys, highlighting different ways to catch fish, different processes in catching fish, kind of that emotion that goes into it, and the accessibility of fishing some of these local derbies, maybe fishing an ABT or something like that and going a little bit bigger, offers a lot more value when I capture that content than having like 3 big splooshes and you're done kind of thing, you know? And just the architecture, the way that you actually shoot stuff. I don't know how much you guys know about like shooting the videos and that. The sort of the process would be much more fluid, much better. It would turn out a lot better to do some of these local events versus trying to do that multi-day kind of travel, you know, make sure everything's in line plus shooting video kind of thing. And maybe I'll get there at some point, but I just don't think it's right. Like at the moment, I'm not feeling it. You know how you got like, it's like fishing, dude. Sometimes, you know, you're on a little pot of fish and you're like, dude, this isn't what I need to be doing. Or you're throwing a crankbait down a wall, you haven't gotten a bite in 3 hours and you're like, I need to change. There's just something like in me, for as much as I was excited about the opportunity of having that schedule where it's close and it's accessible, there's something that's just telling me not to do it. And I'm not stupid enough to not follow that direction. A lot of you guys brought up a lot of other good points too. You know, some of the stuff related to, you know, the channel is not about tournament fishing. It's about things you can apply to tournament fishing. But in the end, like being a part of that sort of changes the process. And I think like some little kind of local tournament fishing and stuff will add to sort of the videos and the content. But I do think that you guys are right. Like I think there's a certain level where participation is support. And that I do have some criticisms, as you guys are more than aware of. We're not going to go through them, of both MLF and bass and tournament fishing in general. And I guess to be a part of that and to pay that much, you know, when you're talking about thousands of dollars, I mean, in the end, to fund is to support. And I don't know if I'm ready to do that. But those are kind of the concepts that went into it. It wasn't an easy decision. A lot of you guys told me, dude, like freaking carpe diem, live in the day, get after it. And I think there's something to that. But I think at this moment, it's not the right decision. And I don't know if I'm making the right decision. I'm not dumb enough to say, hey, I'm right. I'm 100% right. I know exactly what I'm doing, because you don't. You know, it's life, dude. It's dynamic. It changes, and your path changes and turns and twists. But I think for the moment, I made the right decision. However, here's what I always like to do. You guys have great perspective, and you think about things in a lot of different ways. I want you to tell me if I made the right decision. You know, and if you think I should change my mind immediately, just drop down in the comments box. Tell me, you know, whether you kind of support my framework, the way I kind of came to the decision, whether I'm completely off base and I'm missing an opportunity, or whether I'm just chicken. You know, maybe is that it? Am I rationalizing my way through everything because I'm chicken to go and participate and maybe completely fail and have to show the video of me completely failing? I've kind of thought about that too. I'm like, am I worried more about failure and then having to show that and share that with you, or am I really worried about the financial thing and the tournament aspects, some of the principles and ethical aspects? And it's hard to know. You know, I think I know myself pretty well, but at the same time, you don't know if you're maybe subconsciously, you know, pushing yourself in a certain direction. But let me know what you think. Let me know if I'm a chicken shit or if you think I'm making the right decision. I'm actually about to go fishing. I hope you guys all had a great holiday, and we will see you back out on the water talking fishing and not fishing tournaments, I guess. So tight lines, homies.